one step ahead of the game here, James. But yeah, these guys will be wanting to bed these rosters in, as you say, and with the spring split only a few weeks away, this is the perfect proving ground for anyone who's made roster changes, and none more so than these two teams right here. But here we go, the grand final, best of 7, it's underway.
Yes, if there's one thing to be said about more tournaments, is that it's excellent news for the coaches, of course. More data to go off on how to improve their team, and already an attempt to improve this 0-0 scoreline for Vitality's sake. Within the first 10 seconds, it's batted away by Moist Esports. But look, unconvincing is the word that I used earlier. Cash on his day, unplayable. Joyo on his day, unplayable. Juicy, I think the jury is still out, but certainly had a decent series last we saw him. The question is can they pull it all together against a Vitality steamroller that just doesn't seem to stop? I should also sort myself out, by the way, Crafters. I got the historical records the wrong way around. Oh. The only Moist Esports victory was back in the spring split. Of course, the legendary roster of Joyo, Rise, and Materia, it has been all Vitality since then. Nothing to think that that particular swing of momentum isn't going to change here.
I do miss that roster, the OG Moist Esports, the queso who got to the winter final in Los Angeles, won in London this time last year. It's a real shame that roster ended up splitting up, because we thought that they were going to become maybe a new Dignitas, a new Vitality as well. They end up making a roster change pretty much every opportunity they were able to, and now we've got this, you know, a year on from that, we've got a mishmash team of Joyo, Cash, and Juicy. Can't really put that to Seven Nation Army all too well, but nevertheless, here they are in the final of the first ever Rising Stars Odyssey tournament. But Zen, looking for the first goal in the grand final, will be denied by Cash.
Yeah, just catches it a little bit wrong on the roof there, and then of course tries to speed up whilst also carrying the ball. Difficult task to achieve, and doesn't quite achieve it with the result that he was looking for. Cash now down the other side. Look for that double tap, and that double tap is going to go well wide of the mark. Zen's going to be pickpocketed by Joyo, and this ball heading back into the center is going to be great for Moist Esports. Means more possession, means more of a chance to shoot. Oh, Cash, that is sublime!
Cash, money, cha-ching, first one in the grand final, and it takes an absolute village to stop that one, but Vitality, they've all gone to the shops, no one's there, and it's 1-0 to the Moist Esports side. What does Vitality have in response? Nothing off the kickoff, but I would say they've got to respond quickly, because that was just out of this world by Cash.
Meticulous planning, put on the duffel bag and get off to that bank, because the heist is on. Moist Esports take the lead, and Radosin is eager to quickly redress this balance, but Cash down the other side of the pitch now with a save. Infield, oh, loose from Joyo, but Cash well recovered. Alpha back into the center, nice pinch. Joyo with a save, uses that boost sparingly, but also manages to delay the play just a little bit. Joyo now, they're trying to look for a way out here, Moist Esports, and they finally get it. A bit of a mistake here from Alpha 54, forced to go back to Radosin.
There's a recovered play there by Alpha, getting bumped along that side wall, and does his best to get the back pass off. It does put it into the hands of the star player of Zen. We'll say Zen, as a Juicy just doinks that one on. Almost an opportunity coming free there for Moist. Cash will have another chance off the backboard, calls in Juicy, right to net, off the bar and off the Alpha.
Alpha showing some of that defensive chop that he had well become known for many seasons ago. A lot more of a well-rounded player, the leader of the team now, the most experienced of this Vitality roster, and they're going to be looking to him certainly to lead the way forward. Radosin and Zen, though, that's a great combination. What a save from Joyo, out from underneath his own crossbar, it seems. Radosin with the doink forward. Here's Zen again, underside of the car, got the flip reset to use, but Cash throws it away.
This has been a high-powered game number one here in our grand final. Both teams not letting up, showing their prevalent offenses. And the shots have been really powerful. Great defenses by both sides. Another save there by Cash. Alpha follows up. Ooh, Zen tries to take it himself off the post. I'm not sure if it was going wide. Did look like it might have, because Zen did get himself involved in the play. And now Cash takes that one away on the midfield. Here comes Alpha on the back wall, but Joyo able to take it away. Vitality still hunting for this first goal in game number one of this grand final, but he won't find it. It'll be Joyo instead, down the other end to double the lead.
Yeah, the great wall of Moist holds strong. The frustration of Vitality tangible. Route 1 Rocket League gets the job done. Joyo with an open net to shoot at, and he scores. And with less than a minute left, you have to say, this has been a masterful performance from Moist Esports, really holding strong on the one element that was really under criticism over the course of this tournament, that defense.
It has been very critical. And as Radisson, oh, nice pass over from Zen, will cut the deficit in half. And just like that, Vitality sort of have life, I guess. 40 seconds left, it's all possible.
Honestly, I'm a menace, Crafters. I'm a menace.
You are.
I praise the defense, and all of a sudden,
blows up in your face.
Like a deflating balloon, and it's just rested on the floor, limp. Moist Esports, though, definitely don't want to let up on this aggressive pressure now, or indeed their defensive pressure. Vitality, of course, they've got a little bit of a sniff of blood here. They can sense an opportunity to get back into the game, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Silky smooth.
Silky smooth, clean as you like there from Alpha and Zen and Radisson as well. All three men of Vitality getting involved in the play. And just like that, Moist blink and they miss 2 goals in a row. Looked like they were fairly comfortable to take this one 2-0. But all of a sudden, Vitality have rallied the troops and they have taken this to an even kilter. Joyo now trying to get the lead back for Moist. Here in the last 15 seconds, Juicy will have a crack at this. Over to Cash. Shot is there. 3 men save. Zen gets credit, but they have to transfer upfield. Last 10 seconds, Joyo takes it away. Zen's right here as well. Joyo's going to have another crack at it. He's picked the pocket of Vitality, but the save from Radisson will put this down for overtime.
Only a double commit and a solo standard special coming out there from Team Vitality to keep them within touching distance of this blue team of Moist. Roaring back into life with a second win just at the right time, but not quick enough to find that go-ahead goal. And Vitality with this overtime opportunity, they're looking for that golden goal, and you'd certainly bet on them to get it with the quality at their disposal. Zen, a demo on Joyo, but Cash defuses the situation. Zen with another demo on Cash this time. Hits the backboard. Radosin picks this up. Cute. Infield. Zen looking for the bump. Double commit and the save. It's Cash again.
Big plays in overtime here. And if you're watching on and you're a Brighton fan, you'll know there's no penalty shootout here. Unlucky, guys. Nice penalty, that.
Wow, oh my goodness. Just going in.
I'm just firing shots left, right, and center. You had a crack at Tottenham fans earlier.
I did, it's true, but I mean, this is like, you're like lingering on it. Like, it's delicious.
I mean, I don't really care about football all that much. I thought I'd just take a shot, you know?
Well, there's many shots certainly coming up from both of these two teams as well. I was saying that you'd probably bet on Vitality given their quality, but Moist certainly haven't looked too bad themselves either, just looking for that opening. You've got to say that demo barrage from Vitality hasn't exactly worked out either. Strong mentality, strong steel coming through from Moist Esports, very much begetting their state of form in the liquidation state. Is Cash now looking forward, looking for some liquid Rocket League. Ooh. The flick up, and it's going to be denied. Doesn't even hit the backboard. Great reactions from Zen, and there's Radosin with the clear.
It's how Cash got the first goal of this game with that flip reset. The Vitality defense wise to it this time. No one was back there for just a moment. Thought Cash might have had a crack at it. He waits a little bit too long, and the defense able to position themselves, and Cash not able to get the shot off properly. Deep into overtime now, 2 minutes. Here comes Radisson, and taken away by Joyo, but Alpha's lingering, looking for that top corner. Zen will have another crack at it. And again, Vitality just not being able to break through to a clean shot on the Moist net. And they're defending for their lives to the Moist Esports side, but now the transition downfield. Cash, we've seen him do this quite a few times now into Juicy. Pops it on, and Radisson has to save. No real good opportunities coming for either side.
Disappointing there, Juicy with the right pass, but Cash didn't have the boost to be able to utilize that pass to its best ability. Radosin just goes for the workman-like clearance downfield, but it's just given possession over to the blue team once again. Radosin now off this backboard. He's got support, but not got the pace to be able to move out. Joyo beats his way past one. Has managed to take out Alpha as well. It's into a dangerous area in Alpha with a forced push over to the right-hand side, once again back into Moist hands. It's Cash looking for that third, and sadly not able to get it on this occasion either. Alpha with another big save.
Knocking on the door of Moist, which is more than they could be said, but from their game one against Resolve earlier on, they seem to be sitting back, but here, when it matters most, here in the grand final with another extra $3,000 on the line, And the first title of champions of the Rising Stars Odyssey League is hanging in the balance. And it's only game one, you got to remember here, Relic.
Yeah.
These teams will be wanting this, and Zen just takes us away again. The shots are coming thick and fast, but it doesn't really feel like either team, especially Moisty, are making the most of their offensive opportunities.
It's the sort of overtime where we're either going to have a godly play or a mistake. And that's unfortunately the way that these long overtimes goes. It's either quick or it's going to be heartbreaking. The pop up to Juicy. And downfield, but not with much purpose. You can see both teams quite conservative. As soon as they stride forward, it's a one-player attack rather than a shadow striking opportunity. You can see Zen going all the way back there for 100 boost, the layoff to him. But Joyo picks up on a really poor first touch, and Radosin just forced into the long clip.
And I think both teams are now taking the mentality of, right, we just need to play basic Rocket League. Don't do anything too fancy, just wait for someone else to make a mistake. Maybe get a couple of demos in, as Joyo just did on Radisson. Casher out now around the back wall, and Alpha takes that away from him, and it does feel very methodical, very cut and paste and cookie cutter Rocket League. But sometimes your fundamentals are going to win you games, or rather less so, they're not going to lose you games. As we tick towards maybe coming towards now 5 minutes. Oh, Juicy! Oh, I thought that might have been trickling in, but the fourth man for Moist doing his job.
I must apologise, Crafters. I was going to say all 6 cooks in the kitchen here, but one of the dishes was about to be burned there, and a lovely bit of fake from Radosin, who's completely demolished. That's on target, and Cash has got that angle covered. It was straight at him, thankfully, for his sake. And they get away with it. Double regulation time. 10 minutes of Rocket League played. Bit of a miscommunication here in the back line as well. Radosin has to play it safe into the corner.
There's a double whiff there from Vitality, and Moist had time to work with. Not a lot of time in the end, but Cash touches this one down inside the box. Vitality still holding on to this defense. Now Radisson trying to cause a little bit of chaos on the Moist line. Deep waters right now. First game of the grand final. Maybe it's the surroundings of Champions Field that we've elected to play on for this entire series. Putting the players' mentality, thinking every game is going to count, every shot, every pass, every goal. Everything is heightened that bit more when you get to this stage of a series, and especially on the hallowed turf of this grand stadium. Juicy now takes that, or doesn't take it, I should say. Here comes Joyo instead. Again, Moist just knocking on the door, but they can't find any roads in to the Vitality net.
Both teams are playing safe, but I wouldn't say that both teams are playing nervous necessarily. They're nervous about the repercussions of what it would mean to lose this first game. But I would say,
especially in a deep overtime like this, you can't lose this overtime though.
They are playing without mistakes. They are playing, like you said, cookie cutter Rocket League, and that's exactly what they need to do for the moment. This has become a test of endurance for both of these sides, and it is fascinating to watch tactical ins and outs. The coaches possibly in the ears as Joyo has to go for a late save. Juicy's taken out one of the Vitality players in the midfield, but that's a really nice hit onto the backboard just to relieve the pressure a little bit. Alpha now onto the scene. Gets a bump on the backboard, but there's Joyo as well. These covering runs from all 6 of these players. It is selfless. It is fantastic team play. What a game one.
Yeah, no one wants to be the hero. They live and die together on this grand final stage. 7 minutes in now. The record overtime here in Rising Stars Odyssey, but I know that's not a lot. This is our first ever tournament. Hey, it's a record nonetheless.
It is a record nonetheless. For us indeed. The Professional Rocket League overtime limit's still some
29 minutes now,
away. Yeah, it's a long way away, that's for sure.
Ridiculous.
Oh, and
I don't think it's going to get broken. Oh, I thought that might have been on target. The camera swings round and it ends up going wide. Vitality wiping their brow. Thankful that the goal isn't about 2 feet wider, although this one is open. Juicy had a chance to stick it on target. He now needs to recover off the backboard, gets it to Joyo, but everyone in the way. Now Cash tries to follow up, and still nothing has dropped. Vitality hold the line yet again, and we roll on in OT.
Extraordinary. Vitality are stretching their rotation something fierce, and that is leaving some massive gaps there for potentially a moist grab and steal, but there's been nothing to steal because their shots have been wayward, or there's been too much pace on the ball. It's hit the backboard before they can get the shot away. It's unfortunate, but they can't let this get to them, and Vitality certainly not letting those chances get to them as, that was straight, that was direct, and Cash is once again on hand to put this one away. Cash now, not just with the opening goal, but with 8 saves to his name. An extraordinary performance, but is it going to be enough? No, it isn't! Zen! Oh, it's prophetic! He is the yin, and he is the yang!
The young prodigy is the one to end it, and it's only game 1. It feels like we played an entire series at this point already, Relic, but Vitality win what ends up being a really crucial game number 1 after an 8+ minute overtime. Losing that on a shot like that, it doesn't feel like it was a mistake from Moist, but they're going to feel it in their minds that they screwed up. But at the end of the day, it just shows you the skill and the prowess of this Vitality roster.
They never said die. And this is exactly why you've got to put these sorts of rosters away whilst the going is good. You give them a chance. Look, it's the meme of the hour, isn't it? Let them cook. You're going to be tasting something, and the only flavor it's going to be is painful. Crafters, a real shame there, and for Vitality, what a boon for them. What a huge injection of confidence.
Oh, massive confidence. And after, you know, however many shots it was, I failed to write down because there was so many to try and keep track of. You just lose track eventually, but it did, in my opinion, it did feel like, especially in the overtime, that Moist had the lion's share of the opportunities. They were the ones pushing downfield, but at no point did, or well, maybe like 2 or 3 points, it didn't feel like they had a clean roads to net. It felt like they were just putting the ball in the box and then seeing what happens. They weren't trying to pass around Vitality, and eventually the Vitality's defense was just the difference maker in that one. But when Vitality strikes, they strike hard, and they might strike here. The opening of game number 2 is Zen is saved out by Joyo. But you got to feel that Moist, to get themselves back on the wagon, they would need to be the ones to score first here in game 2.
Double commits like that certainly won't help, and it's offered an opportunity for Vitality to stretch their legs down this eastern wing. It's going to be all the way back to that backboard, though. Zen with a couple of interesting touches, let's say. But Alpha 54's got enough ideas about him to be able to navigate his way around Juicy, although it is Juicy who picks up possession. Nice handoff here to Cash. And Zen, after picking up some boost of his own, cleans up his own mess.
Nice of him to clean up his own mess, and he might score as well as Radisson just puts this towards net, and luckily for Moist, they deal with that just about. Here comes Joyo down the other end. We mentioned him earlier on, Relic, as the one who needs to get Moist going a little bit at a time. It did feel like Cash in that first game was trying to push forward and be the, not quite be the hero, but Joyo can't be the hero in defense this time. Radisson 1-0.
There's only so much Joyo can do. He is isolated, he's running out of boost, he lost control of the ball, and Cash going for the around the back of the goal save, but little too little, little too late, and that's going to be huge for Vitality as they look to go 2-0 up in this series.
Golden goal will certainly go a long way with that. Now the mentality of Moist is going to be really pushed to the test as Zen, just look at him go. This is the player you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen.
The assist from Alpha 54 is administrative. This is all Zen. Wonderful hit onto the backboard, beautifully weighted. Gets into a perfect position to drop this down from the heavens. That's a good goal. That's a really good goal. Classy, full of confidence. And Moist, their backs are against the wall. Their rotations are a little all over the place. Their defense, once again creaking, is a third on the horizon. Alpha 54 into the middle. Joyo with a save. Radosin looking to go central as well, but he just gives it up to Juicy.
You can't be giving plays up like that. Well, I suppose you can if you're 2-0 up, but if you're Moist, you want to take every opportunity you can. And now the pummeling begins. Moist only have 2 shots in this first couple of minutes. Vitality have already racked up 6. and the 2 goals to boot. Do you know that Vitality feel like they're in control, and Moist trying to wrestle that control away from them? We've seen them do it before, but it doesn't feel like everything's swinging Moist's way right at the moment.
It's not just about feeling in control, Crafters. The stats do say it themselves. They are in control, and then some. Cash completely isolated. I don't know how he didn't get bumped out the way. I don't know how this wasn't a third goal, but Cash almost able to fashion a first for Moist. Here's Joyo. Oh, it's just short of the mark. Juicy to Joyo. Great interception from Zen. Alpha 54. Oh, what a fake. Alpha 54. Oh, my goodness. Joyo with a read of the century.
Oh, he just breaks his ankles. He completely throws him off. And Joyo is made to look like a fool, flying halfway down the field and no ball in hand. Luckily enough for Moist, Vitality don't benefit from it in terms of a goal, but they do benefit in terms of clock management, and the time is now a-ticking. Still plenty of time left, of a minute 45, but Moist probably want to get on the board early here. They've not scored since the first half of game number 1, and at this point, that's about 15 minutes ago in real time.
Yeah, they've missed the alarm clock, Crafters, that's for sure. They're on borrowed time now. They're looking for a bit of mercy, but Vitality do look relentless. Is Juicy, musty flick. Radosin says no. Joyo. Cash taken out in the midfield. Juicy with a flick. Radosin again, denied. Joyo this time. Forced back, trying to dispossess. Alpha 54 into the center. There's Zen, and that's not number 3 off the woodwork. Up it goes from Radosin, and Alpha 54 on hand. This rotation is merciless.
It's just brutal, isn't it? Moist feel they have absolutely no way through with no space to work with. This is Vitality's house, and Moist are currently the rent payers. 2-0. And still no signs of slowing down for Vitality. Cash is going to have a chance maybe to get one back here. They need to score pretty much now if they want a realistic chance of tying this series up. With 35 seconds to now, and Joyo dispossessed here on that bump in the air. It does look like Vitality have a grip on this grand final.
We saw a glimpse of what Moist need to do. The disadvantage of this really tightly formed, tightly knit rotation from Vitality is that it does leave their back end horribly exposed. A big, long clearance on target, and you've got yourself a goal. Joyo finds his way through 2, but also the ball goes wide. Back into the center, Joyo. Oh, Zen stands firm. It's been a brilliant performance from Vitality. The 2-0 scoreline for me, Crafters, doesn't quite do it justice in every sense of the word. Dominant.
Completely dominant. Maybe a 3-0 scoreline might swing that your hat on that one. Zen won't get it, but either way, this has been complete control from Vitality. You felt it perhaps throughout the first game, maybe certainly when they were coming from 2-0 behind to push it into that 8-minute overtime. But now the tide is swinging, and Moist, oh, they've got to really rethink how they come to the field this time. I mean, just looking at the stats here on our page, 57% possession by Vitality, but the field domination, I thought that would have been way more in Vitality's favor than just 51%.
Sure, but it's about what you do with that percentile, Crafters, and Moist got 5 shots on target. Okay, when can we truly say, yes, that was an opportunity where Moist could have scored? I don't think there was a single moment in the 5 minutes. Vitality got themselves, 12 shots on the board, of which I'd wager that maybe 5 or 6 of them could very well have gone in had it not been for Moist heroics or wasteful shooting from Vitality. It was incredible, and it all comes down to not necessarily their possession, but their passing and the accuracy of it. They know exactly where everyone is, and that's just the foundation that you need to give yourself some good communication and lay the foundation for an excellent series ahead. I don't see any reason for this to change going forward. Moist Esports really need to find a rabbit under their hat.
And it comes back to a point I made in the series earlier on when Moist were taking on Williams Resolve. Williams Resolve are a team who've stuck together through thick and thin all this season. Obviously, Zen's been in the Vitality fold for a little while, so he's had a fair amount of playing time with Radisson and Alpha. This Moist roster, yes, Joyo and Juicy have played one split with each other, and now they're bringing in another new third. Moist are just a roster who cannot stick together come hell or high water.
Yeah.
And yet again, they have made a roster change. And obviously in tournaments like this, you think maybe there's going to be a honeymoon period. This always, like, getting to a grand final is no easy feat, and you got to commend them for that. But when you go against a roster like this and and players like this as well, it's going to take something else other than just player greatness to get past Vitality right now.
Yeah, Vitality, the team that can't get enough thirds, and Moist, the team that can't seem to hold on to their thirds at the moment. It's the sad situation of how things go, but it's also the volatile nature of this esports. Players have so much sway. Of course, this legendary Moist Esports roster that we still very much love from their time last season with us. It all started to unravel when Vatira just wanted a change to an all-French team, and here he is now with Karmine Corp getting a major win, but Radosin couldn't have scored that if he'd had another few goes, I don't think. It just seemed like the will of the gods was against him. And as it stands then, it's still 0-0 as we approach the 3-minute 30 mark.
I felt like Moist just threw up a force field in front of net.
Yeah.
Just bouncing off everything. Wide open, and still Radisson couldn't put it in. The will now for Moist is they just need a goal. They've not scored, like I said, since early on in game number 1, and that's a long time ago now. Past the overtime, past the 2-0 comeback, and past the 2-0 defeat here back in game number 2. So third game in this best of 7 grand final. First of all, they need to score to get over the hump and get themselves back into a rhythm. But they need to win this game, otherwise it's a best of 7 reverse sweep. And how often does that happen at this level?
More often nowadays than previously, Crafters, but still not often.
It's still not a lot.
Exactly, yeah, but it's it's certainly something that all of these players should be mindful of. As I can see the body language of these Vitality players. They're looking to flex. They're looking for clips. Okay, you had a great game too, but Moist are still dangerous, and you're still only at 0-0. Let's not forget as we reach halftime, though Vitality certainly have looked the closer to getting that go-ahead goal. Here's Alpha. Ooh. Wasn't going to go on target anyway. Joyo just had to make sure. Alpha demoing Juicy in the midfield. So once again, these escape options limited. Alpha a miss is not going to be punished. Radosin with the play. Keeps it close to his chest, but loses out ultimately to Joyo. Through the corner. Zen's got some boost, and he's not going to have to use it. It's Joyo backing out.
But at that point, you're one-on-one with Zen, and everyone from Moist has gone back to get boost.
Yeah.
You got to put the pressure on players like Zen. Yes, we know the talent that he is. Oh, but Radisson, he puts it on net. No one was there. Who is it that gets the demo? Of course, it's the mad lad in Zen. Boom goes the dynamite, and 1-0 Vitality.
Cash had no chance. And the chances for Moist Esports to demonstrate to us that they've got it within them to match this Vitality roster are dwindling, Crafters. And they're dwindling fast. It really looks to me like this is a team that's, quite contrary to Vitality, is starting to lose confidence. Finally, a demo comes out from Joyo Kami. That's the one thing that I was going to say is really missing to try and upset this Vitality rhythm. You've got to take them out of the play.
You really do. And right now, Vitality are just putting Moist in a straitjacket. Absolutely no chance of getting through. And you see all 3 members of Moist just sitting back, giving Zen all the space you could ever want to try and get a ball out of his own half. For a team like this, you've really got to put the pressure on. And right now, Vitality, there's absolutely no pressure. They've got on a plane, gone to the Bahamas, and they're sitting on a deck chair in the sun. It's that relaxing for them, and they might even get a second here. Out to Zen from Alpha, and the defense for Moist does block that one eventually.
Cucumbers over the eyes. They're here for a beauty treatment, or rather a beauty show. They're demonstrating time and time again that this is the trio that will go forward and have success. Of course, it is still only early days, contextually speaking. It is just one tournament, but the signs are there. No signs as such for Moist Esports that they will be breaking their scoreless run. They have not scored for now what seems to be 10 minutes in total, adding on to that certainly. Ooh, Zen with a save at the near post. Almost Moist, almost.
That was an absolute rocket, but it's still not enough to break this defensive Vitality, but no one's there. It's going to be Juicy that turns on it, and finally, after what feels like for absolutely forever. 15 seconds to go in a must-win game. Juicy ties it up and gives Moist hope.
They left the house. They forgot to lock the door, Craftman.
They did.
They forgot to lock the door, and breaking right in. The heist is back on for Moist Esports. Is this going to be a second consecutive not second consecutive overtime, I should say, but a second overtime in this series? Moist will be rubbing their hands together. It's a simple clearance for Vitality. It's not going to be followed up on. The ball is spiked. My goodness me, Moist got away with that.
Well, well, well. I don't imagine Moist want to play for about 8 minutes again in overtime. We'll see how long this one goes. They probably want to get this one done and dusted as quickly as possible. But if they need to play the long game, you've got to expect they've got to be up to the challenge. Vitality, they've been the dominant force here in this grand final, but now the pressure is starting to get to them a little bit. Moist are getting more and more chances, and more of them are looking good and looking like they could score at any time.
That was a great opportunity for Moist. I think they spurned it quite a bit. Juicy going for a straight shot. Easy enough save for Zen. Cash lifts it. Joyo completely body blocked. Juicy around the corner. Mitra does he wins the challenge. Grace across the goal mouth. No one was expecting that, and thus no goal was scored. Backboard. Zen trying to find a way out. There's Juicy, and all of a sudden Moist have turned the tables.
This looks like a completely different series now, doesn't it, Relic? It just feels like the script has been completely flipped on its head. All of a sudden, like one moment Vitality are dominating, not letting Moist out of their own half, and now Moist are doing the exact same thing back to the French. Off the backboard, here comes Joyo, and Zen calmly takes this one into the corner, and that's the thing that these players need to be, is calm. Vitality need to be calm, not get ahead of themselves, and let this one play out as it is. Moist can't feel the pressure of being down 2-0. Oh, and they do keep their cool on the goal line. Cash does get the save after a decent chance there by Radosin, and he'll have another crack at it as Zen tees him up, but Joyo makes the save.
This is a huge moment in this series for Moist. They have to hold out. They have to hold strong. We've seen it previously, but to no avail in game number one. Zen catches them out. Zen not going to drop and find the fortuitous pinch off Joyo, and Joyo's going to be beaten by Radosin. Juicy back up just in the nick of time. Loses out. Cash, the backflip and away. Lovely turn, but straight into enemy territory, straight into enemy hands. Joyo gives it away. They're not being given a break in field. Oh, it trickles off the woodwork, and Cash slithers out.
Oh, take a breath, Moist fans. That could have been it. That could have been the devastating blow. It would have put Vitality onto match point. But Moist keep on fighting. 2.5 minutes gone in OT. After that quick flurry at the start of extra time here, it's been all Vitality. Moist have not really had inroads ever since that early flourish. And now Vitality back to what they know best, holding onto this midfield and just putting the absolute pressure, coupling together everything that they can and holding Moist back. Moist finding a breakthrough every now and again, but nothing just seems followed up whatsoever. A big bump there onto Joyo might dissuade him from going a little bit further into this play. He will back out eventually and go back and grab himself some boost here in the corner. Juicy takes this, but just straight into the path of Zen, and he's read that so well, but I suppose that's the best defense for a player like Zen, just batter him away.
The patience, the gall of these players to just stop. Just stop and let the play evolve in front of them. It is truly extraordinary to watch, but the results are what matter most. And the result as it is, still at a deadlock. Radosin once again getting the better of a Moist player, but forced backwards here. Nice pocket pick from Joyo Kami, and Zen's been able to slalom his way through, loses possession of the ball, and he's not going to be able to challenge this through the corner. It's Juicy. Snuffed by Alpha. Joyo looking for that way out. He finds it through Cash. Juicy watching brief. Oh, that's a huge pitch. That's going to go right over Juicy. Force back. Radosin sees the net open in front of him. Juicy with a block. That's on target. Well saved by Joyo.
Now the defenses are really coming into their own. Like you said, that fortuitous pinch out of the corner. The big clearance down by Vitality has given them some breathing room yet again, and even more so now Alpha takes out Juicy.
Oh!
The 1-2 pass, and Zen puts it home! Vitality, 1 game away!
Download the VOD and stick it in the washing machine. This needs cleaning. Oh my goodness me. Delightfully, deliciously, dastardly. Team Vitality onto match point.
Oh my goodness. Vitality just seem like an unstoppable beast right now. Just when you think Moist have a chance, a couple of plays, 15 seconds to go in regulation, they tie it up. First minute of overtime, it seems like they have all the momentum on their side, but Vitality just shut the door clean and get right back on the horse. And that 1-2 passing play from Radosin. We've talked about team chemistry a lot today, James, but that is the best team chemistry I've seen all day out of any team that we've had here on the Rocket RB.
French team, let me offer some French compliments. Pièce de la résistance. Beautiful, beautiful play. And to be fair, the sort of like the foundation blocks were there. We'd seen time and time again, Vitality were willing in that final third to just hold up, wait, be patient. Moist scrambling, desperate to try and find a way out, and then it's almost like they couldn't think 2 steps ahead of themselves. By the time they get down into the final third, in front of Vitality's net, they struggle, they snatch at shots. Vitality don't snatch at shots. Communication on point once again. Accuracy on point again. Such a well-weighted pass, such a great goal, and another backbreaker for this Moist Esports team who now has to reverse sweep this entire best of 7 to win the first Rising Stars Odyssey.
Does feel like it's their time. Will it be their time? We'll find out in 5 minutes, potentially, although we've seen how a couple of games have gone in this series already. All still to play for. And like you said, a daunting task now for Moist. If you thought even just winning 1 game against this Vitality squad was going to be different to try and save your grand final, now you need to do it 4 times in a row. Under a lot of pressure here. And as we've mentioned as well, this tournament, a preview of potentially what we're going to see in a couple of weeks' time when the Spring Open is on your screens for RLCS. Seen a couple of RLCS teams in here already today, and it does feel like Vitality, they've made strides in the last few months, and now with this addition of Zen, it feels like they are walking on cloud 9. Not the roster, the metaphor, I mean. But,
okay.
Oh, there's Juicy!
Right.
Bit of pressure now for Vitality, but adversity to overcome.
You know, we saw time and time again great offensive chops from Zen. Great defense this time around, but finally, Moist with that quick recycle of the play. A great demo to open up the pathway to get that go-ahead goal. It is huge for Moist, especially off the back of 2 big overtime losses. They've got that go-ahead goal, Crafters, but we know what happened in game 1. They cannot let that happen again. They've got to learn from their mistakes.
A 2-0 blown lead in game number 1. And they've only scored once since. And well, now twice in fact. Miscounting the one they've scored here in the
yes.
4th game of this grand final. I was just looking down at my notes really and just saying, oh, they've only scored once since then. Oh no, they actually scored there. And they might score here. Cash just blocked away by Zen, but the follow-up from Joyo. And it feels like Vitality are putting a lot of stock into these defensive plays. Always seems like it's 2 people, 3 people blocking the shot. And they always seem to have more in the tank, but Juicy can't get that one. Can't tip it away, and Alpha ties things up.
Yeah, over here in the UK, we had panic stations at 3 p.m. The alarms were going off then, and they're going off now. Juicy, could he have done better with a little more calm? Maybe, maybe not. If you're Moist, you cannot rest on that decision. You cannot rest on that play. There's still 3 minutes to go, and your tournament lives are still on the line.
And it might be a little bit too little from Moist. They do eventually block that one out. Vitality again looking very, very dangerous, but Juicy trying to dribble that one through the defense. Not finding anything there. It's still Moist again, they got the first goal, but it does feel like Moist are just in complete panic mode, as you said. Just clutching at straws for anything they can, but how about that? Joyal to Juicy, the G&G connection.
Might have been a mistake from the young lads to concede, but there was no mistake here. Lovely infield pass, great connection on the ball, 117 kph. Lovely work from Moist on the stroke of half-time. They retake the lead. Juicy with a second goal to add to his collection. Now can they hold the lead, Crafters? This seems to be the most difficult task.
It's a daunting one at that, especially when you've got Zen on the other side of things, hunting you down at every stage, and Alpha and Radisson are no pushovers as well. It was not that long ago we were saying Alpha 54 is the star of Vitality. He still is an absolute diamond, is that player. But now you've got Zen, who's what's better than a diamond, I guess, a platinum something. I don't know.
Wait, no, that doesn't work in Rocket League terms.
It doesn't.
Or in real world terms.
He's an SSM. I was thinking of materials. He's shiny. He's a nice shiny object.
Obsidian? I don't know.
No, he's like you know Pokemon.
Craftman, he's a star.
He's a star. You're gonna be a star, kid. Let's cut that.
Absolute
to shut me up.
And
He's looking for his hat trick. We've not really mentioned Juicy's name all that much. It's really been the Joyo and Cash show here. That Juicy has started pulling his weight here with those 2 goals.
1 minute 18 left. Vitality with a goal to find, at least. They have themselves a grand final win in the palm of their hands. Or rather, just out of the palm of their hands, given the current situation. They do have time to play with, should they lose this game, but if there's one thing that you never, ever want to do, it's give Moist the chance of a comeback in a best of 7, and no one knows that better than Joyo!
They are the comeback kings, the heart attack kids. And Joyo, he's been used to that on the grandest stage of them all. The 3-1 now might have at least saved this game at number 4. They need to pull it off another few times if they want to start being in the conversation of a comeback. I suppose all comebacks have got to start somewhere. And you gotta remember, this one ain't over till it's over. We've seen quicker turnarounds than this. And from this Vitality roster, and Juicy is a lucky boy that one was just going wide.
That one goes in very hairy. Last few minutes, it's still going to be hairy.
Oh
my word, a complete calamity in front of net. Zen punishes, hold the phone.
A malfunction at the junction. Cash looking to pinch it away, and everyone's just panic. Go for the ball, it's loose. And Zen's the one to calmly stroke it in. 26 seconds now. Vitality. 1 goal to get to send us to a 3rd overtime.
Oh, it's open.
Cash, he don't want none of that. 4-2. Looks like we move on here in the grand final.
Full send for Vitality. Full bending of the scoreline for our friends at Moist Esports. 4-2. And after all of that hope within that 10-second period, it's gone. Eviscerated. Out of mind. Zen's going to try and find some sort of consolation, going to try and attempt to get some miraculous situation going, and he might just do that off the crossbar, would you believe? But that should be the end of that. Moist Esports stay alive for now.
For now is the right words to use there, my friends. They have given themselves a very, very mighty uphill battle. As I said, all comebacks start somewhere. And a 4-2 game is the way to do it. And look at the shot count from Vitality as well.
Yeah.
We've seen that just off the charts every single game so far. And only 4. They were only able to match what Juicy put up alone. Meanwhile, Moist putting up 15 total. It's a complete turnaround from the games that we've seen so far this series.
The scoreline and the narrative of this game much more akin to a horror than a comedy story for me, Crafters. Mostly of Moist's own making. That defense, it wasn't great.
It wasn't.
But their offense finally finally clicks. Don't get me wrong, I think Vitality a little off the boil in this particular game as well, partially down to them, seemed a little flat in places, really only were able to score off mistakes via Moist Esports, but you can only analyze what's in front of you, and Moist is just going to be happy that they've seen their potential realized in this series, even if it might just be for one game.
One thing that Moist now, with that victory, obviously it now pushes them a little bit closer, but one thing it will do is eliminate in their minds that we can't beat this team.
Yeah.
They now know they have the potential, they have everything in their power to beat Vitality. Heck, they were 2 goals up on Vitality and about to win game number 1. We could have been sat here and it's 2-2. But nevertheless, it's 3-1 in the series, and Moist will eliminate all the bad juju in their minds and go on and just know that Vitality obviously still have that match point advantage, now 3 match points in front. But what can Moist do to retaliate against that? I reckon again they need to score first as they did in the last game, and they might just do that. No one's home.
No, they're
Juicy
not.
again off target. That's the second time we've seen that. Juicy having an open net and puts it wide.
How more glorious an opportunity do you want?
That was a gift.
The answer is no more. No more glorious an opportunity would you want. That could be a worrying omen to come for Moist Esports, but the game is not won within the first minute. It is, of course, won over the 5, plus whatever extra needs added. His Zen towards net, looking for a bump. Not going to get it. Save from Joyo. Cash now up. Radosin too fast for him. And Joyo once again on hand to deal with it. Juicy with a demo on Radosin. The attacking options curtailed for the moment, although Alpha keeping possession in orange hands, and Moist Esports just can't find a way out.
It's exactly what Vitality have done so well throughout this series so far, is not give Moist all that many options. Not just for trying to get a shot onto net, but even just getting out of their own half. They're starting to find their ways around it and starting to play their own style of Rocket League. We said in the first game it was very cookie cutter. Everyone was feeling each other out and just getting a feel for this grand final. Now they are starting to come into their own, and especially Vitality is holding Moist back. And now Joyo, opportunity presenting itself. He didn't have all that much boost, so Zen will be the one to take it away from him. But Moist again, we didn't see it all that often in the first few games, where they had extended possession in that Vitality side of the field. But now they're getting these opportunities more and more and more. Nothing dropping here in game number 5 as of yet, but Joyo might have a chance off the backboard. No, Zen takes it away.
He's going to win the follow-up challenge as well. Here's Alpha. Oh, well read by Juicy, and how about that? Silky from Joyo Kami onto Juicy once again. Reaches that backboard, but not going to go no further with that play. Alpha over the top. And Joyo back at square one, back at home base. He's going to be stopped here by Zen. The red light put up. Radosin. Oh, that is devilish. And that is delicious. Alpha 54 eating good.
He said Joyo got himself back to home base. Looked like Alpha 54 and the rest of Vitality. They went to B&Q instead and crafted their way around the Moist defense. 1-0. Could that be the one goal that Vitality needs to send them into championship form? Win themselves a title before the next split of RLCS even starts. Juicy trying to put a dampener on things and keeping this one competitive in the Vitality box. Cash waiting for his chance, and he's got it. Here comes Joyo, taken completely out of the play. That's your offense over for that period, Moist.
The team statement, absolutely not. And oh, absolutely not. That is not good defense, Crafters. It is a demo from Alpha. Completely misses the play there, Cash, and nowhere to be seen. The last man, Joyo Kami, watches as it falls into the net. Disaster.
Complete chaos. And Moist, just as they were given hope in Game 4, that tinge of hope has been dashed. Now they have a 2-0 deficit to overcome just in this game alone. A minute 40 on the clock to do it. How about it then? Joyo trying to find a roads in. Every time Moist throw a man at the play, they throw another, and then all of a sudden they've got one man back, and that guy has to stay back in defense, otherwise it would be complete disaster. And even more trials and tribulations they'd have to overcome. They still need to play smart here, Moist, but they need to play fast. Minute 10 on the clock, still pushing Vitality to their limit, but we've seen that Vitality's defense has been an absolute wall this grand final, and yet again they clear their lines.
The spacing out and the ability to identify tasks for each player, extraordinary. Juicy over the top, towards net. Alpha saves the day, comes in clutch with a save for the cameras. Over to Zen, not going to reach it. Cash is on hand, but giving up possession again. Moist, not just needing to find 2 goals, should I say. They need to come from behind. They haven't done that in this series. They have not won. Once they went behind, 1 goal was tough. 2 goals seems like a mountain. It's a save for Cash. Time running out.
They've got to do it now if they're going to do it at all. 20 seconds left. This might just be a victory lap for Vitality. But Joyo's going to have a crack at net. He's got 1 man to beat, and the 1 man beats him. Out to Cash. Here he comes with a flip reset, and Juicy's going to miss. Alpha just has to put this one on the ground, and it will be the French taking home the crown. But Team Vitality are your first ever champions of the Rising Stars Odyssey, presented by Ally.
Homer's going to be writing about them. And he's going to be writing about the day that Zen stepped into RLCS contention, Craftman. I wouldn't necessarily put the MVP award on him, necessarily. I think that Alpha 54, in respect of his all-round performance, team leading performance, probably just about edges it for me. This Vitality looks great, though. And I hope that this isn't a red herring. I hope that we see this confidence, this creativity, and this willingness to get inside their opponents' heads once we hit match day in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's going to be the consistency of trying to push this into the next stage, into RLCS form. It's all well and good winning these off-season tournaments, but can you translate that into wins where it matters most in the RLCS? But, of course, where it matters most today, they did their job and got the thing done 4-0 in the grand final. And it just felt like Moist... Or excuse me, 4-1 in the grand final. I'm misremembering that. The one game that Moist won. So I'll give them that. But, I mean, it felt like a sweep
it did.
At most times. It felt like Moist just were absolutely nowhere. Maybe that's due to the team still trying to find their chemistry, still to find their cohesion and knowing where each other are. But you could argue that. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think Vitality just outplayed them.
Yeah, I always say that game 1, especially in a best of 7 scenario, is the most anomalous game. You can have a 4-0 in game number 1, and then the opposition team goes and gets 4 on the bounce and ends up winning the series 4-1. This game 1 felt so important. It wasn't just that Moist lost, it was the nature in which they lost. They got that 2-goal lead. They let it slip. They played an extended overtime only to then lose. I'm impressed that they actually found enough within themselves to get themselves a game win in our penultimate game of this series, but that really was the last wind, and I don't think there was much else in the tank, sadly, to be able to mount any sort of comeback.
It did feel like a consolation at the end of the day, but they did play well in that one game that they did win. But this was Vitality's day, all day, every day, and this is a very, very scary roster going forward. But let's have a look at the bracket to see how everything played out over the course of today. We started with 16 teams in the round of 16, funnily enough. Yeah, I know, right? Whoa, mad. A lot of 4-0s in there, all the teams who made it through to the semi-finals eventually, or excuse me, not all of them. Well, the Monaco Carmine Corp series, that is an interesting one, at least. I was having a look at that while we were in the green room, and Monaco were 3-0 up in that series. K Corp get 2 games back, and then all of a sudden it's Monaco that go through. That's interesting for the winter major champions to go out in the quarterfinals of a tournament like that.
Yeah, It's a weird one, especially considering what we saw from Monaco thereafter. Maybe the pressure getting to them, when you're going up against who is currently viewed as the best in the world, the pressure's kind of off. You know that any result that isn't a sweep is a good result, and so that's good on them as Monaco to be able to show that they can potentially compete in RLCS for the spring split. Carmine, I think this will be water off a duck's back. To take that particular cliche meaning. I think that this is just one of those days where they wanted some warm-up, they wanted some practice, maybe got a bit complacent. I expect that they'll be back to their best in 2 weeks. But Crafters, in more than 2 weeks, the Rising Stars Odyssey returns, does it not? In a month, my watch says.
Yeah, just about a month or so. Let's have a look at the calendar and the rest of the events that we have planned for this season, I suppose, of Rising Stars Odyssey. We've just had our first inaugural event. I think it's been a wonderful event, if I do say so myself. But you'll join us next time on June the 3rd and 4th. And of course, you can see the dates throughout there. So have a look to see how you can get involved on this one, because there are open qualifiers. Maybe you could be playing in this in a month or so time. But let's just consolidate everything. Let's wrap everything up. I want your final thoughts before we go off the air here, James.
Sure. I think it's been a great tournament. I think it's been a great tournament overall. Definitely some surprises, both good and bad. And ultimately, grand finalists who are worthy of going home as the reigning Odyssey champions. I hope to see Team Vitality back in a month's time, and I hope to see everyone back as well. I mean, we've got to thank a few people as well. Of course, Ally Bank for sponsoring, Psyonix for trusting us here at the Rocket RB, Rocket Baguette with this project, John, Piwal, and Boyan for administration, Placium for the design, Eskimon for the overlay, Rapids for community management, Cheesecake for production, loads of people behind the scenes doing excellent work, and we do hope that you see that as well. Chat, feel free to drop a follow, not just here, but on the socials as well, and we hope to see you in about a month's time.
Yes, we will see you there. So again, hit that follow button under the stream, hit the bell icon as well. I mean, you mentioned as well, we'll have English language broadcast of both the Sam and Mina regionals on the last day. Hopefully we'll confirm that in due course. So again, follow us on at the Rocket RB on Twitter, and of course here on Twitch as well, and you'll get to see all those lovely Rocket League streams. But for everyone here at the Rocket Baguette and the Rocket RB, as James mentioned, all those lovely people behind the scenes, thank you to all our casters for today, to Jam, to Danny, to Psycho, and for all of you for watching. This has been a fantastic tournament. We hope to see you in a few months' time when the Rising Stars Odyssey, presented by Ally, returns.